Do you ever look ahead to September and think, that's the next January? Fresh start energy, new routines, new goals, a clean slate. Yep, your reader is thinking the same thing. But what if her slate doesn't actually feel that clean? What if she's stepping into fall a little tired, feeling a little behind, carrying something from summer she hasn't quite put down yet? If you're just jumping in, we're wrapping up our 3-part series, Get Inside Your Readers' Heads, for quarter 3, and we're learning to read the room with our podcast content. And before we dive in, if you're multitasking, be sure and grab the quarter 3 content planning guide linked in the show notes, because it walks you through all 3 months, July, August, and September, and the talking points from this episode. Plus, there's optional AI prompts if you use AI to assist with your marketing ideas. That way, you're not ever starting from scratch. So today, we're talking about planning ahead for the month of September. Somewhere between the back-to-school photos and the pumpkin spice everything, a lot of your readers are asking, why does everyone else look like they're starting fresh and I feel like I'm just trying to catch up? Maybe that's just me every year. If you've taken the summer off from content creation, September is your re-entry moment. And if you've been showing up consistently all summer, kudos to you. And September is your harvest moment, because your reader is more than ready to take the next step with you. So don't miss it. So let's read the room for September using the 3S content method: struggle, support, and showing up. Let's start with struggle. This is your target reader, the one living the exact problem your book solves. So what is she carrying in September? You know her best. She might be stepping into a new chapter she didn't choose, an empty nest she's still adjusting to, a diagnosis that changed her fall plans, a relationship that didn't survive the summer, or she's starting over again and she's not sure she has the energy for it. There's also that comparison that September brings, because everyone is posting their new routines, their organized and fall decorated homes, their first day of school photos. And your reader might be looking at all of that and feeling behind before she even begins. Or she might be the one that plans way ahead, and when September appears, she's already thinking 2026 is winding down, and she's looking at what she said she was going to do in January and wondering, what happened? I can definitely relate to that. And I remember, when the COVID shutdown pushed the holidays sooner and sooner in our faces, because everybody was starting to decorate for Christmas way before Halloween. And somehow that has stuck year after year. It's like we barely get a new school year started in the fall, and we're already looking ahead at new calendars and Christmas trees and all the things. And fall just blows by the wayside, right? So think about your reader's feelings in September and how the message of your book can meet her right there in the middle of starting over or starting something new. Now let's talk about support. This listener isn't carrying the struggle you wrote about herself today, but she loves someone who is, whether that's her child, a close friend, a parent. She might have a child navigating a hard start to a new year, a friend stepping back into working outside the home, a spouse or parent facing a new health reality, or somebody in her life is struggling while everyone around her seems to be thriving in their fresh start energy. And she wants to be a good encourager. She just doesn't always have the words to support others well. And then there's your showing up listener. She serves people who are in the middle of the struggle you wrote about in her small group, her workplace, her ministry, her community. September is when everything starts back up. Book clubs, small groups, Bible studies, volunteer programs at school. She's stepping into all those spaces, and she wants to bring something meaningful, not just her presence, but a true resource that actually helps. Remember, when you're guesting on someone else's podcast, you have no idea who's listening. You don't know if your target reader is even in the room, but you can almost guarantee that somebody in that audience loves and or serves your target reader. And she's paying attention, hoping you'll give her the right words and the right resources so she can support and show up for others well. And when you do that, your book could show up in rooms you'll never even know about. So that's your September room. A reader who's trying to start fresh while still carrying what summer left her, a listener who loves somebody in that struggle and wants to help them take a step forward, and a listener who serves people in that struggle and wants to show up well as fall gets into full swing. When your content speaks to all of those, you stop talking to a narrow slice of the room and you start speaking to everybody in it. Now, let's talk about how you create content for this. It's the same options as before, and just pick the one that fits where you are right now. Remember, you know your reader best, and these are just ideas. So first up, episode ideas on your own show. When you're serving your own audience, you get to choose if and when you're talking to somebody who struggles or somebody who is supporting or showing up for your reader who struggles. So think about their struggles and how they're appearing in September, and how can your message of your book meet her there. Be that friend that names what a fresh start feels like, or we think they feel like, right? Not what we see on social media, but really what it looks like when you're starting something new while you are transitioning from something that just ended. And if you've already planned your September episodes, how about a timely pop-up bonus episode? It could be just a short 5 to 8 minute episode as a send-off into fall straight from your heart. That's what readers need to hear now. And then as a podcast guest, even if you can't predict the timing of your episode release, you could still add a fall seasonal angle when you share it with your email list and your social media communities. And when you're recording as a guest, you don't even have to mention the month of September, right? You can just talk about the fall season or even heading into the holidays. But you can meet listeners where they are and weave in those seasonal observations. Remember, this is where the support and show up listeners really carry your message further when you're podcast guesting, because when you're on somebody else's show, you don't always know who's listening, but you can lean into timely feelings that speak to the whole room that's tuning in. I think about like permission, right? Permission works for everybody. Permission to start messy, start tired, start with what you have, because September puts so much pressure on us to begin perfectly, and almost nobody does, right? Raise your hand. And lastly, the Short Stack podcast as your call to action when you guest. You can create a short standalone podcast, just 6 short episodes, and make it timely around locking in all these new fall routines or building new habits. And the ask is always easy and natural on a Short Stack podcast, because you just say, I have a short podcast that goes deeper on this, and it's already in your podcast app. Just click the link in the show notes and start listening. That's a yes that your listener can say yes to in about 3 seconds. While summer can feel casual, back to school feels chaotic, right? And September can sneak up fast on us. So it's easy to let your content planning fall through the cracks, but your listeners are waiting for what only you can provide. You aren't called to write a book that collects dust on a shelf. You were called to write one that helps people, and the third quarter is full of chances to say it in a way that lands with your target readers. So stop second guessing about what to say, and then just start showing up like you know exactly what your reader needs to hear, because you do. Thanks for tuning in to Book Marketing Mania, and as always, I'll be there for you next episode to help you reach and serve your readers one podcast at a time. See you then.